everyone. Welcome to Aging and Spirituality, where we share ways to have a more meaningful, fulfilling life after 60. I'm Chris Jensen.
I'm Kathy Taylor.
We're so glad you're with us. So, our question today is, can we really change old habits? We have habits, we've been doing things a certain way for a long time. And there's always that thought that people get set in their ways or it's harder to change. However, we don't agree.
Wait a minute.
We don't agree.
We beg to differ.
Yes, we beg to differ. As we age, habits can feel more deeply rooted. We say these things like, I've always been this way, it's who I am, or it's too late to change. But is it? No. No. What if transformation is entirely possible in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the hundreds?
Mhm.
What if change isn't about force, but awareness, choice, and spiritual alignment? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think it's lazy to have to do that, you know? It's
Yeah.
mentally lazy not to look at those things every once in a while and try to do something different, you know?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you got your finger on it there when you say it's lazy. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I've always done it this way. So
Yeah.
if that's not what you really want, let's change it.
Let's change it.
Yeah. So what's really a habit? It's habits are not just behaviors. They're actually psychologists saying neural pathways and emotional patterns that we formed for a reason. They once served us. They helped us survive, maybe when we were three, and we're still doing it. I mean, they helped us adapt, fit in, cope, protect ourselves. And as we age, though, we have a new spiritual opportunity. We can ask, are my habits still serving who I am becoming? Changing a habit isn't about blaming ourselves, it's about updating our inner software to match our true self, our deeper wisdom.
I love that idea. I love that idea of the spiritual operating system, and you can just plug it in and update.
Yeah, to go along with anything. So, why does change feel so hard? It's not about willpower, it's about wiring. We repeat what's familiar, even if it's harmful. We often hear stories about women who, they get divorced and they marry the same guy 4 or 5 times because it's familiar, not because it's good. The brain loves efficiency, so it resists change. Our identity becomes tied to our patterns. Emotionally, change can feel like a small death of who we've been. Now, there are some people like me who I kind of have always enjoyed change. I
Too.
look forward to it, but I still have habits that I've been doing from my whole life that I want to do differently.
Yeah. That
Despite,
they surprise you when they come up. You're like, what?
yeah,
I'm still
what?
thinking like that? Like this
Yeah.
is crazy. Yeah.
So in spiritual terms, that small death that we feel of the old pattern is actually an awakening. It's a shedding, the beginning of a rebirth. Instead of being stuck, we're being in this rebirth. So,
Mhm.
yoga's insight, put the weight on the other foot. Now, I'm going to just tell you about this, and then we're going to go through steps later. But here's the thing. So, if there's something you want to change, a habit, don't put all your attention on the habit.
Mm.
Put it on what you'd rather have instead. For example, let's say you're someone who eats processed food all the time. And you've heard all the stuff lately about how bad it is for you mentally, emotionally, and your physical health. Even, can increase the risk of dementia. So you want to eat better, but you've got this long time habit. So here's what you do. Instead of focusing on, oh, I don't want to do this or I've got this, focus on visualizing yourself eating well, feeling good about it, people congratulating you about it, affirming that you're enjoying these new eating habits. Yoga teaches that this won't necessarily happen the first time you do this. Like you're not going to sit down and put your attention on this new habit you want, but you have to do it repeatedly for a while because you've had this habit for a long time. You got to do it with intensity, with repetition, and a lot of awareness.
Right.
Ramakrishnananda, who was our yoga teacher, he did a whole retreat on changing habits with intensity and repetition. So, spiritually, every tiny act of doing something different says, I'm not stuck. I'm not finished evolving. How about that? Isn't that more exciting to think that you're evolving and growing spiritually than you're stuck and this is what I've always done and I'm stuck here, I'll never change?
And it sounds easier to get to there than get past being stuck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stuck
So
sounds impossible.
let's go through step by step of a process and how you do this. So first is the awareness, the first spiritual step. Before we can change a habit, we have to know what it is. Okay. So if you don't know if there are any habits you want to change, ask yourself, what is the habit beneath the habit? What's really going on? What emotion is being protected? What belief fuels the behavior? What benefits from me from staying this way? Is there really any benefit? Who could I become if I let it go? Ask yourself that. That's the one I like. If I didn't do this, who could I become?
Yeah, that's the one pointing towards the change that you want,
Yeah,
right? That's where you want to go.
right, right. I mean, if I want to be a spiritually enlightened person, what do I need to do to be the person I need to be for that to happen? How can what do I need to let go? A habit is rarely the real problem. It's kind of a messenger, you know. So you can't really erase the habit. You have to replace it. You don't fight an old pattern because you put more energy into it. They talk about with children, if they're throwing a tantrum, if you get all excited, you're just going to make it worse. You just want to do a different behavior. You grow a new one, a new pattern. So you ask, what do I want instead? Here's this habit I don't like. Let's take the food one because I figured that's a safe one. Not going to be too
Sure. Yeah.
anyway. What do I want instead? I want to eat really healthy food and feel good and look good. What small action embodies that? What little thing can I do today? Maybe I'll go to a grocery store that sells organic food and maybe I'll buy some lettuce, some apples, just a little step. How can I practice it every day? Even if you do it just for 1 minute, you know, that's something. I think 5 minutes is better, but 1 minute at least, if that's all you can do, you do it. If I habitually worry, what do I want instead? Maybe you need to trust. When we do the yoga practice of putting the weight on the other foot, I say, if you can do it for 5 minutes a day, that's going to help. If you do it with intensity and focus, it's really going to help change that habit. If you can't do it for 5 minutes a day, do it for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Do what you can do.
It'll just happen faster if you're able to do it up front for 5 minutes, keep your focus on it, it'll happen faster. But if not, definitely do the 60 seconds and do it every dang day. Because
Yeah,
that will make the difference.
that's the thing.
It'll
Repetition,
grow.
yeah, and putting your attention on it. That's the spiritual training, the inner wiring. And intensity is important too. There's the idea of tapas. Tapas means heat, or people tend to think of it as discipline, but it's mainly heat. Change requires heat and requires intensity, not in a punishing way, but in a very devoted way. So I choose this. I choose this new habit. I choose to eat well. I show up for this. I am willing to feel discomfort because I'm becoming someone new. I'll pass the aisle in the grocery store with the potato chips or whatever
Right.
process
Right.
you like is. And I'm going to walk around the perimeter to where the produce is. You need to just intensely do it. And repetition isn't enough. It really needs that intensity. You got to pull your attention and focus on it. Just 5 minutes. You know,
Hmm.
24 hours. That's 23 hours and 55 minutes to do something else. Mhm. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So I just wanted to give you some scientific information as well. Neuroplasticity and aging. Science now proves something spiritually profound. The brain can still change at any age. Neuroplasticity never fully stops. It slows, but spiritual desire, longing, devotion, curiosity, purpose accelerate it. Now, this is science saying this. This is, what we love and what we practice shapes our brain. Think about that. What you love, what you practice, it shapes your brain. So in spiritual aging, the goal isn't perfection, it's liberation, freedom.
Right.
Sometimes habits say, I'm afraid, afraid to change. When changing them, we say, I'm ready to grow. Growth, sometimes it's scary, but it's also exciting because it's a new you. Transformation can be a sacred thing. On the yoga path, it's a sacred thing. Everyone wants to be transformed. We want to let go of those old habits that we don't need and welcome the new. So it's more opening up to our soul.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Our favorite topic.
Yeah. It is our favorite topic. It
It
is.
is.
Yeah. So here's a practice you can do this week. Think of one habit you'd like to soften or release. Just one. That's the place to start. And ask, what do I want instead? And then shift your weight to the other foot. Think about what you want instead. And every day, with intensity, intention, and awareness, spend some time visualizing yourself in this free from this habit, this new. Maybe you're a person who is careless. See yourself being, and you think this is, you can't help yourself. It's just how you are. See yourself being extremely careful and conscious for 5 minutes. Just visualize it, affirm it, put all your energy into it. See what happens. Just watch what happens. Change is not about being someone new, it's about returning to who you've always been underneath the habit, that pure true self.
Okay, so let's do an example. Like if, like I'm not sure I understand what you mean by put shift your weight to the other foot.
Oh,
So
what you
like,
want instead.
huh?
What you want instead. Instead of
Ah, okay.
thinking about the habit, like I don't want to be careless. No, I am careful. Putting
Got it. Okay.
visualize being careful. Put your weight on what you want. Put all the energy on what you want. Right.
Okay, so weight can also be focus. Instead
Yeah.
of folk, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so glad. Thank you for clarifying that. So yeah,
Yeah,
what do I want instead? And then put all of your attention on that, what you want. See
right.
yourself being free from these old habits. You don't need them.
Yeah.
You won't need them.
Yes. That's a lot of what we were talking about before we got online in terms of wanting to let go of things that are old habits, old thoughts, old ways of doing things that, I was saying I want 26 to look totally differently. I want to respond to it the year totally differently and act totally differently. And this is plays totally into what you're just talking about. You got to let go of the old habit and focus on the new way of being that you want
Yes.
to bring into your world. So this is a great exercise for all of us to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think, like I'm saying, you can do this. We're saying it to ourselves. We can do this too. I mean, this is something that we're actively working on all the time.
All
And
the time.
just talking about it here in this podcast reminds me of some habits I would like to change. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the fun of personal growth.
It is the fun of personal growth.
Always
And
getting better.
nothing's better. And we have this opportunity. I mean, we're living longer.
Yep.
Let's use that time. Let's use it well and not pigeonhole ourselves into thinking we can't.
Oh, I love that idea. I think so much about I've had had a cold recently and had some other things going on with my body, and I felt myself just falling into that accepting of, oh God, this is the way it's going to be for the next 10 years or whatever. And then yesterday I was just like, no, it's not. I'm going to heal this. I'm going to make this work, like I just had a breakthrough in terms of feeling like I don't have to accept what everybody says is typically going to happen in a given situation. Can be what I want it to be. I can learn to heal what's going on in my particular situation. So it's it gives me hope. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you were saying, you don't you do have control over this. This is your life. You need to make the choices to get what you want.
Hmm.
Another thing we were talking about beforehand, what if I were to sit and imagine what my future life would be like? Sometimes it's hard to make those decisions. Like, what would I really want to have in my life? Because your logic jumps in and goes, well, you only have this much time and this much money, and you got to do this. And no, 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 no. Just throw all that nonsense out and just
Hmm.
ask your soul, what is it you want? And go after that. Kind of the same way here with what you're talking about, the habits. Don't let them stand in your way.
Yeah, don't let anything stand in your way.
Yeah, get rid of it. Get going. Okay, there
Obstacles are
you go.
something to overcome.
There you go.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. I hope our sharing helps.
Yeah,
We've been
too.
through a lot of stuff and we have a lot of growth to go to, but we're sharing everything that we know and we hope it's helpful. So come to our YouTube channel, like us, subscribe, but also send us some comments. We'd like to know what you're thinking. If you like this stuff, if you're having trouble with it, anything you want us to talk about. If we can, we will.
We will. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
See
Bye.
you next week.